Formally call to order the Mission Royale Community Facilities District Board. This is on our Monday, October 16th board meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. The roll call show that all members are here and present. Item C is minutes from our last meeting of June 19th.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve the Mission Royale CFD minutes of June 19th, 2023.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, new business. This is a public hearing. This is to consider and review the feasibility report relative to the proposed project to be financed by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the Mission Royale Community Facilities District. District Manager?
Yes, Chairman McFarland, members of the
Didn't
board.
know that was your title, Larry.
That's right. I appreciate that, Mr.
And
Chairman.
did you get paid for that?
No,
You get the same pay we do?
exactly. So there are, Mr. Chairman, you outlined the three items that we're going to ask the board to consider this, or to actually take action on. Number one will be a public hearing related to the feasibility study that has been submitted. And then from there, there'll be a consideration of a resolution accepting that particular feasibility study. And then the second resolution will be a consideration to issue bonds. And so just a little bit of a background. I didn't know how many individuals would be sticking around in tonight's council meeting, but I thought I'd give a little history on the Mission Royale CFD because we have not actually had much activity in the recent decade. But on November 3rd, 2003, the council of the city formed the Mission Royale Community Facilities District, which held an election on December the 4th. General obligation bonds in the amount not to exceed $6.5 million were authorized by the voters at that time. The district has previously issued bonds for the purpose of reimbursing the developer for public sewer infrastructure in an aggregated principal amount of $1.135 million, and there is currently no outstanding debt from that original issuance. The board likely recalls the fact that we paid off that debt a couple of years ago. I don't think we've levied a tax for the last 2 or 3 years now. And so with that, this evening, Mr. Chair, we're you'll find included in your packet a feasibility report that's been prepared that is in conjunction with the requirements of the land development agreement and district, and outlines those particular public infrastructure items that are eligible for reimbursement. That is essentially what we're doing tonight. The developer has expended funds for public infrastructure that will ultimately be dedicated, and they have followed all the various state requirements and public bidding in order to get to this point. You'll find in that feasibility report a very thorough outline of what the public infrastructure has been completed in the various parcels of the Mission Royale CFD, but it primarily consists of sewer, roadway improvements, drainage, and the like. So everything that is actually eligible. The amount that has been expended to date is $4,096,682.75. You'll find the breakdown for the engineering, design, and construction of that public infrastructure, as well as the location in which the public infrastructure was actually built. The bond proceeds themselves, ultimately the proposed bond issuance would reimburse the developer. The $4,064,092 is proposed in the feasibility report, would establish a debt service fund in the amount of $143,758, and would cover the cost of issuance in the amount of $255,000. Once this transaction is completed and reimbursement made to the developer, and considering the initial issuance, the remaining general obligation bonding capacity that would remain in the CFD would be $1,075,000. So there could be, and we expect that there will be another bond issuance at some point, essentially reaching that 6.5. They continue to construct public infrastructure in the development, and in fact anticipate building out the Mission Royale CFD, the Mission Royale development in very short order. The debt service on a general obligation bond will be paid by the levy of a $1 secondary ad valorem property tax, which is essentially established by the agreement when it was initially formed, starting in fiscal year 24-25. And so there's not a tax implication this fiscal year, but starting next year as we begin to service debt, we'll have to levy that dollar. As the board is aware, we also levy 30 cents for operation and maintenance. So essentially the $1.30, if you're assuming an average home price of $350,000, would ultimately result in about $30 per month, or about $360 annually to the homeowners out there. And so again, Mr. Chairman, we're asking that you open a public hearing to essentially consider and review the feasibility report. And following that, we will ask you to consider the approval of resolution number 75, which in essence approves the feasibility report and the acquisition and financing of certain improvements benefiting the district. And so with that, I'll pause, and then I'll cover the last bond issuance item when you're done with the public hearing.
Does council have any questions, or you want to have Larry before we?
And I would like to thank our external team, both Nick Dodd and Tim Stratton, who have sat through the entire evening with us this evening.
He did that to punish you both.
Have been very active on this project, as they always are on our various financing deals, and appreciate them coming down tonight and all the work they've done to get us to this point. And if you have any questions, technical questions, that I'd be happy to let them answer those as well.
Okay. All right, seeing no questions from up here, then I will open the public hearing on item D1. This is again the feasibility report. Okay. Seeing no one, then I'm going to close the public hearing, and then we'll consider approval of resolution number 75.
Resolution number 75, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Mission Royale Community Facilities District, City of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the feasibility report relating to the acquisition and financing of certain improvements benefiting the district, declaring its preliminary intentions to issue not to exceed $5 million general obligation bonds to finance the acquisition of certain improvements as described in the feasibility report relating to such improvements pursuant to the provisions of Title 48, Chapter 4, Article 6, Arizona Revised Statutes, and all amendments thereto.
Chairman McFarland, I move that we approve resolution number 75 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Member Edwards,
Yes.
Member Huddleston,
Yes.
Member McBride,
Yes.
Member Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Member Herman,
Yes.
Member Lavender,
Yes.
Chairman McFarland.
Yes. And Larry, did you want to make comment on this next item?
Yeah, if I can, Mayor, just very briefly, obviously the mayor and council is familiar with the typical resolution language related to the issuance, sale, and delivery of general obligation bonds. We've used them both in Mission Royale and Valago CFD in the past. There is one slight difference to the language that we're asking the board to consider tonight, and that has to do with assignment language that is transpiring in some of these CFD transactions. And essentially and in fact, the mayor and council considered an element on the city side on a consent agenda item earlier this evening. But ultimately, this language is essentially acknowledging the fact that the original developers that the city entered into agreements with have essentially sold the property to another, in this case, Meritage. And so we are consenting to the assignment and thereof. And so there's additional language that you may not have seen in other types of resolutions. But outside of that, Mayor, Mr. Chair, I would certainly stand ready for any questions that you may have.
Any questions, council? All right. Then I'll consider approval of resolution number 76. Gloria?
I need some water for this
It's
long
a
title.
long one.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Resolution number 76, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Mission Royale Community Facilities District, City of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of its general obligation bonds, Series 2023, providing for the annual levy of a taxation for the payment of the bonds, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of a bond registrar, transfer of agent and paying agent contract, a purchasing contract relating to the bonds, and a continuing disclosure undertaking, and certain other documents securing the payment of or relating to the bonds, authorizing the appointment of a registrar, transfer agent, and paying agent for the bonds, ratifying and approving a preliminary official statement relating to the bonds, authorizing the preparation of a final official statement relating to the bonds, consenting to and acknowledgement of prior assignment and assumption of development, financing participation, and intergovernmental agreement number 1, awarding bonds to the purchaser thereof, adopting written continuing disclosure compliance procedures, and issuance and post-issuance tax compliance procedures in connection with the issuance of bonds of the district, taking other actions securing the payment of and relating to the bonds, and ratifying all actions taken or to be taken to further this resolution.
Chairman McFarland, I move approval of resolution number 76 as presented.
Second.
That is one long sentence. All right, having a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Member Edwards,
Yes.
Member Huddleston,
Yes.
Member McBride,
Yes.
excuse me, Member Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Member Herman,
Yes.
Member Lavender,
Yes.
Chairman McFarland.
Yes. All right, I think that's it. So, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Does anybody want raffle tickets?